Hi, I'm here today with Mike Langer of Langer Construction. Our topic for today is radon. It's a question I get asked a lot in real estate, both on the buying end and selling end. But part of why I want to talk about this today is I want just homeowners in general to become more educated about the issue of radon, because I think it's something that everyone should pay some attention to. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah.
Great to have you here. Always good to have an expert in the field. Thought I would just ask Mike some of the questions that I get from buyers and sellers all the time, and he can share his knowledge and wisdom with you. So tell me just what radon is. That's usually the first question people
Yeah,
ask.
so radon comes from the breakdown of uranium, which is naturally occurring in the ground. And so radon is a byproduct of that. And radon it's a radioactive gas, and so it's low levels of radiation, and it is the #1 cause of lung cancer behind smoking.
Interesting. So for people who haven't even smoked,
Right.
it's a leading cause of lung
Yep.
cancer.
Yep.
So that's cause for concern right there. Because I've had clients ask if it's sort of the latest craze, that it's a racket, someone's trying to make money over it, but I think it's just something we become more aware of.
It's a class A carcinogen, which is a known
Okay.
cancer-causing agent.
Okay, so there you go. Pretty important information there. What about, I know levels of radon vary from area to area. Just looking like at St. Croix County, what do you typically see, or what do we know about high radon levels?
Yeah, so St. Croix County, it's within a percentage point or two, I can't remember exactly, but St. Croix County, Pierce County, and then Washington County just across in Minnesota, all of them are within a percentage point or two of 50% of the houses testing high.
So every other house you test,
Right.
basically,
Yep.
is going to have a high radon level. And when you say high, we're talking above
Yeah,
what?
so the EPA sets what they call an action level, and that's 4 picocuries per liter is a unit of measure. And they would say anything 4 or above to mitigate it.
To put a system in to take
Yep.
care of it. Okay, very good. So I get this question a lot. Is it mainly older homes that have radon issues?
Yeah, no.
Don't have to
that's-
worry about
that's-
new construction.
Yeah,
Is
I
that true?
actually get both of them. They say new homes because they're tighter and older homes because they're in it. It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't
I mean,
matter.
kind of the only way to know is to test.
Okay. And so, what are some key features in a home that can lead to high radon levels? I mean, we can't know how much radon is in the ground around us, but are there some features in a home that maybe lend themselves to higher?
Yeah, they can. I guess
Levels.
probably the big one would be like kind of open crawl spaces where the dirt is
Okay.
exposed. And again, I mean, I don't know that more houses test high with crawl spaces per
Sure.
se, but it definitely, it's open, so it's coming from the ground.
Right.
So I would,
Some
crawl
baskets.
spaces, some baskets, and just sealing up things. And again, I mean, it definitely helps to seal up whatever you can. We've had people with brand new houses try and, they've tested and then wanted to seal everything and retest, and the levels still come back high.
Still
So
there.
it doesn't necessarily fix the problem, but,
Sure.
but it's, I mean, when we go in and put a system in, we always seal up whatever we can.
Seal up those open areas. Great, that makes sense. So what are some ways you can test for radon in your home? Right now people are wondering, gee, is this something we should be looking into?
Yeah, so homeowners, I mean, if they want to do it themselves, they can go to any of the home improvement stores and they'll have both short-term and long-term tests. Short-term tests, typically, when we do them are 2 days for real estate, just because you're kind of limited in the amount of time.
Everyone's in a hurry.
But a short-term test is anywhere from 2 to 90 days, and a long-term test is 90 days. And so the longer sample period you have, the
Better.
more accurate that you'll get.
But one nice thing about the 2-day test that you guys do with the machine is you get a printout of how the
Yeah.
levels vary,
Yep.
each
So-
hour of the test that's
Yep.
going
So
on.
the home improvement ones, it's a charcoal activated deal, and you actually have to send them into a lab, and then they'll give you one overall average.
Right.
And with the testers, they're electronic testers, a continuous monitor, and they actually take a reading every hour on the hour.
Okay.
And so you get those hourly readings, and it graphs it out at the end.
Sure.
When the test is done, and you can see that.
Sure. So is it true that radon levels in a home can vary with the time of the year, with weather patterns, anything?
Definitely. Weather patterns, actually one of the protocols is not to test during severe weather patterns.
Okay.
And
High wind,
they don't,
rain.
yeah, high wind, storms, that kind of thing. And you can definitely see, like, I've had multiple testers out, and when a storm comes through, and you can see the correspondence between, the levels will spike. Typically, it spikes up
Okay,
with weather patterns.
interesting. So it's something that varies from one location to another, and it varies with weather patterns. Does it vary with the time of the year?
Yep. I would say, typically winter months is when you see the highest levels, and I would say probably July and August are, we definitely notice we don't see as many high tests, and the other months we still get, it seems fairly consistent. Maybe the levels aren't quite as high or whatever, but they're, in winter months, I guess, would be the.
Okay. And then let's talk about what happens when someone has a high reading and they decide to mitigate. There's passive systems, and I know those are being put in Minnesota
Yep.
code
Yep.
now, right?
Yep.
And there's active systems, so let's
Right.
talk about the difference.
So essentially, a passive system is a radon system without a fan.
Okay.
And so Minnesota in 2009, it became code to build houses with a passive system. So they're set up and then after you buy, and that's another misconception, is people think if they have a passive system that they're protected, and a lot of the homeowners think that, and they're not.
Not the case. So
Right.
an active system actually has what?
Yeah, so it's essentially has basically used PVC piping to vent it out, and it comes out your roof. Sometimes they'll run them out the side of the house and up through. That's another advantage to a passive system, is it can be incorporated into the building process.
Sure,
with
that
the
makes
pipes that are
sense.
hidden.
Put it in an inconspicuous place.
Right, and so I'm just trying to think where so passive, active systems. Essentially, it's just activating. You install a fan.
It has a fan, so it's actually creating a vacuum and it's
Yep.
pulling that air out.
Reverses. Kind of the basic principle is houses have negative air pressure, so they're trying to pull air in. And when you activate a system, it's pulling air from below the concrete, which
Sure.
reverses the air pressure under there. So it actually is trying to pull air from the house.
Okay, interesting. So what does a system run on average?
So
Just range?
active to, a system where there's no passive system in place, I would say probably 85% of the systems are between $1,200 and $1,500.
Okay,
And then if there's a passive system in place, and some of the earlier ones, there weren't outlets installed, they weren't vented through the roof, they just kind of had the piping in place, and so they can range, typically from $500 to $800, depending on the extent of what was done.
sure. Seems like a reasonable price for really what is a serious problem in some homes. And so really our goal today is just to educate you, encourage you to do some more reading on your own. Like I said earlier, for buyers and sellers, it becomes an issue during a transaction, but I would encourage everyone as homeowners just to educate yourself and to consider testing and maybe look into mitigation if that's something that is needed. So appreciate your time today. Thanks very much for joining us.